What if the company you built was quietly breaking the people you trusted most? The automatic door slid open, and I stepped in, unnoticed, a stranger in my own stores. My jacket was faded, my cap pulled low, hands stuffed in my pockets. Nobody saw me for who I really was. I didn't need anyone to notice me. Not yet. What I needed to see was the truth. The store smelled stale, a mixture of old coffee, dust, and resignation. Shelves were disorganized, promotional signs fallen, bread torn and tossed like yesterday's news. The fluorescent lights flickered faintly, bathing the floor in a dull gray. Customers drifted quietly from aisle to aisle. There was no laughter, no greetings. On the other side of checkout lane 4, Kendra Owens stood scanning groceries. She was in her 30s, hair loosely tied, eyes red and swollen. Her hands shook slightly, voice barely holding together, but she kept going. I froze behind a shelf, pretending to inspect canned goods, and my chest tightened. I had built this chain, Grayson's Market, with the philosophy that treating employees well was the cornerstone of a thriving business. And yet here she was, barely standing under the weight of a system that had forgotten how to care. A manager stormed past, Troy, shouting sharp orders that made the air itself feel heavy. Kendra's shoulders slumped, her face a mask of silent endurance. I clenched my fists, heart pounding, realizing this wasn't just bad management. This was cruelty in disguise. I walked slowly down the aisles, taking in every detail. An onion rolled off the shelf, skin dried and cracking. A young male employee stubbed his toe and kept silent. An elderly customer waited at the counter for minutes. Nobody asked if she was okay. The store wasn't just underperforming, it had lost its soul. People weren't lazy. They were exhausted, defeated, afraid. Every glance, every trembling hand spoke volumes. I remembered the anonymous letter weeks ago. Someone in your store is being pushed to the edge. Look before it's too late. Regional managers had laughed it off. I hadn't. And now, seeing Kendra, hearing the silence, I knew the letter was right. During break time, I bought a granola bar, heading to the break room. A hushed sobbing stopped me. Kendra, I can't do this anymore. I tried, but nothing's enough. Gas, rent my son. Another voice, softer, a colleague, whispered about schedules and punishment. My heart sank. I understood then that the rot ran deep. My company, the one I built to protect people, was failing them in the worst possible way. The next morning, I returned as Dan, a probationary staffer, uniform on, name tag pinned, unnoticed. Marcus, a young colleague with glasses, gave a brief welcome. I learned quickly Troy, the manager, had weaponized schedules. Kendra, a single mother, had her hours slashed drastically, down to 15 hours a week, not enough for rent or medication. Others were punished similarly. I quietly collected proof, screenshots, schedules, internal notes. Unreliable, not priority. Each phrase like a hammer against the truth I had ignored. Later that evening, I stepped into Troy's office, calm, steady. I heard about Kendra. Her shifts were cut. Is that true? He laughed, dismissive. She's unreliable. Kids, personal stuff, excuses. I need people I can count on. My fists clenched. He wasn't careless. He was deliberate, calculating. Cutting hours, crushing morale, polishing reports. I left the office, breathing heavily, rage simmering beneath a calm exterior. People were paying the price for my silence, and I had to act. I spent the night at a cheap hotel nearby. Tea gone cold, streetlight casting shadows over scribbled notes. Each name, each number, a life affected. Kendra circled in red. Memories of my early career flooded back. The hands-on work, the promises I had made. I couldn't let my company betray those values again. Next morning, crisp suit, metal CEO badge shining, I entered the store. The air shifted, subtle but palpable. Employees noticed. Some froze. Kendra's eyes met mine across the floor. Recognition, relief, hope. I approached Troy. Calm, firm. We need to talk about how you've been treating my people. Troy froze. You're making a mistake. he whispered. No, I said, steel in my voice. They have been working under burdens you will never understand. Today I take back the keys. You're done here. I called a meeting in the break room. Kendra, Marcus, Linda, Jorge, all were present. I spoke openly. I failed to ensure respect. I've seen what's happening here. I believe you. Starting today, how we run this place changes, and it begins with trust. I appointed Kendra assistant manager. Her eyes widened, disbelief giving way to quiet determination. The team listened, silent but attentive. This was more than policy, it was a shift in culture. Kendra rebuilt the schedules, prioritizing fairness. Morning shifts for single parents, predictable hours, respect for outside responsibilities. Slowly, morale improved. Marcus helped a customer. Linda smiled while restocking. 1 week later, Daniel Me returned unannounced. The store gleamed. Customers were greeted, employees engaged. Real change reflected in eyes, gestures, and footsteps. Kendra no longer trembled at checkout. She had reclaimed her space, her dignity, her voice. She smiled quietly, knowing the system could change. One person at a time, one schedule at a time. Sometimes changing a whole system starts by listening to just one person, and sometimes the strongest one is the one who broke down mid-shift but still showed up the next morning. Fade to black.